Hello and welcome to Darwin for Match 8 of the 2012 Foxtel Cup, where we'll see reigning premiers in their respective leagues, NT Thunder, taking on Port Melbourne. It's going to be the match of the round so far, as I welcome the goal-kicking machine, Barry Hall. Conditions ideal out here, Baz.
To go, thanks, mate. Yeah, look, it's the sun's out, but it's a little bit difficult with humid conditions, a little bit sticky.
And 28-game winning streak knocked off last week. Collingwood beat Port Melbourne. Tell you what, that was an upset. And NT Thunder, they've been outstanding last year in terms of the Foxtel Cup. Looking for an upset today, maybe? Yeah,
there's been talk all morning about an upset, and Port probably should have continued their record last week, but couldn't kick straight, so the record stops.
Now, the Bulldogs have played up here many times. You haven't, but conditions are pretty slippery at the moment in terms of, I suppose, humidity. But we've been in the ice box. The boys will be using that pretty much all day, I would have thought.
Yeah, definitely. AFL teams actually have to prepare to come up here with humidity and, train in saunas and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how Port Melbourne go today.
And the Foxtel Cup guidelines, if you haven't watched already, this is how it pans out, Baz.
Yeah, look, it's a 16-team statewide competition. It's a knockout competition, so you lose, you're out. 18-minute quarters, which, you need to get a good start with the short quarters like that. No draws to go. I love this rule. If the scores are level, next score wins. And $215,000 prize money. I'm surprised they can put that money up with your wage to go.
Oh, that's right. And Germo was happy enough to take that last year. And Williamstown last week, reigning premiers of the Foxtel Cup, were knocked off. So this is how it's played out thus far. We've had some unbelievable matches. Morningside took care of Launceston in match 1. Port Adelaide, semi-finalists last year, outstanding against Subiaco. Werribee, easily over Burnie. West Perth, outstanding. Claremont, last year's grand finalist, in a tough one over West Adelaide. Mount Gravatt, impressive. South Adelaide, as we mentioned, Williamstown. I'll tell you what, South Adelaide, the Panthers last week, inaccurate, 20 behinds, okay? Goal kicking's been a big issue in VFL and AFL. And I'll tell you what, Hawley, at half-time, we might head up and have a bit of a kick, but I'll tell you what, one bloke who's kicking serious goals is Mark Reddings.
Thanks. Make a statement on the big stage under the guidance of Gary Ayres. Let's check these two teams in. Well, we thought the Wiggles had made some changes this week. Port Melbourne, the state game coming up, and they're missing some of their key forwards, Dean Galea and Chris Kane, to name just two. And a real test for this forward line to see whether they can come up to the mark today. And switching across Adam Rabanauskas to this team from the Northern Territory Thunder. They will be exciting. On inside 50, no mark taken. Here's a shot from long range. Maybe a touch of interference there. Goal square on the boot. There's your first goal of the day from Sam O'Sullivan.
Well, it's been very much, I guess, an uninspiring start where it's been very scrappy. We've seen at the first centre bounce there, the ball probably went 5 metres within the first probably 2 or 3 minutes of that quarter, but Port Melbourne were just able to get that smother across half-back, which was critical. But again, squaring the ball up through the centre corridor has allowed Port Melbourne to be a lot more direct with their possession going forward. And we've seen then it was basically just an easy goal.
His teammate who had a little fend off there in Casey Lee. And Port to half forward. Just, big fly. But there's, I think, a relayed kick.
Free kick.
But hey, let's not disappoint the man who took the big grab over the top there. Fantastic by O'Sullivan, unfortunately, who was used as a step ladder there, and it might be 50 as well. So this will be a certain goal coming up for Port. And Josh Muling, who turned 21 last week, has the simplest of tasks.
Geez, what a turnaround.
And he'll just stroll in and just saunter through and kick the second goal of the day. And Port have the numbers close to the boundary line. It's a high ball. Watch out. Collision time.
Fantastic.
That is courage from both players. And we have two casualties. They did not take their eye off the ball. And, gee, that cannot be questioned.
Absolutely, and you've just seen it there. Both players were there with just at absolute full speed, eyes on the football, and that is just a big, big collision there.
Yes, one of those players is Benjamin for Port, and for the Thunder, in clear distress there is Jake Lawler. And the umpire's quite rightly stopping play.
That's the sort of stuff that your teammates really remember too. They never forget stuff like that.
Well, you never want to see anyone hurt on the football field, but that is just sheer courage by both players. Their eyes on the football. Ben Dixon would have been right in front of that. Just did not either
flinch.
player did not deviate from that football, and that's the hard edge of AFL football. That exactly what Barry Hall said is that both teammates from both sides will remember that.
Well, Lawler looks like he has injured his leg. Not sure here about a Port player, but you say, Barry, their teammates won't forget it, but they may well. That's by Thornton. Comes to Dillon. Can't handle it. Back to Thornton. Still a late chance for a goal for Port. A snap around the body by O'Sullivan. Oh, beautiful.
Good goal.
That is sensational. And in the top end, that is from the top shelf.
Oh, exactly right there. Just the composure there by, it was O'Sullivan there. Just fantastic. And we see it's just that quick play out of the stoppage again, and it's, you know, Basil's just a scrubby kick forward, but sometimes they're the most dangerous because they're out in front of the forward where the forward can create, because we all see the big key defenders. They're very adequate at, I guess, spoiling and getting in there. But when the ball's on the ground, that's where I think the defenders sometimes struggle, because your forwards are generally your most creative players, really, aren't they? And we've seen O'Sullivan there, just a nice snap around the corner.
And Port, with the turnover, have created a very open forward line. O'Sullivan with the sit. Works off his man. Does he take the mark? It's paid.
Well done.
He really used his body well and got rid of his opponent at the critical moment.
Look, it wasn't a perfect kick, but it was to his advantage, and that's all you want as a forward. He was able to use his body, hold that space, and then actually fall into the mark. It was a great effort from him.
And we just seen O'Sullivan there. What he was able to do is just protect the drop zone of where the ball was going to go. He never let his opponent there get in line with the football. So O'Sullivan knew where it was going and was able to take that mark.
Looking for his third goal of the day. O'Sullivan, well, he's a forward with a routine. It regularly gets results, and there is another example. He has been the first half standout.
Well, I was going to ask you, Baz, as a forward, what did you find hardest when a defender was playing on you in terms of his starting point?
Taped it up. He's actually going to come back on shortly, which is pretty impressive. And as we mentioned, Clinton Benjamin take no further part. He's got a bit of a sore neck and ribs and a little bit of blood in the mouth, but both boys seem to be okay.
Well, here's our man again, Sam O'Sullivan. It is on a string for him, and he is going through one of those days, boys, where it's just falling into place.
Well, there's space everywhere, and you know we spoke about it a bit earlier, but there's space everywhere for him to lead into, and if you've got a smart kick, it's pretty hard to stop.
Port out by 5. This to extend that margin. Well, his radar is on. This man is on fire in the top end. Sam O'Sullivan. How's this for a start? 4 first half goals and more to come, perhaps.
Well, it's 4 first half goals in 25 minutes of football. So you have days like this probably 3 or 4 times in your whole career where you're able just to get on a roll like this. So if it was me and if I was the coach now, clear out the whole forward line. Just leave O'Sullivan one out with his opponent and just
get stuck with the ball in the middle and hopefully, you know, get it out and use our space in the wing and stuff.
That's been a real positive, is the leg speed and the way you've gone through the middle. Must have pleased Daniel Archer at quarter time.
Yeah, Daniel's been, you know, said most of the boys that, you know, got to start early and, yeah.
Great, thanks, Jared.
No worries.
Jared Cunningham. They sometimes short on words, the Indigenous boys, but gee, they'd make up for it on the field, don't they?
Well, short on words, but definitely not short on actions. The Indigenous boys, no doubt about that.
Goal kick there by Williams, who had a chance a few moments ago to slot a goal. He gets one moments later.
And giving your teammates the best chance to play on.
Hinkley's defensive kick is sound. And they can pump it forward again. Mark drop. Heenan at the spill. And Pitt would have liked to have done better in that marking opportunity. He gets a second chance. The layoff by hand was pretty good. Comes to Clay Johnson. They're queuing up. He could have chosen 3 options in a central posse. And in the end, he finds the captain, Michael Dillon, a premiership player last year, a civil engineer. So he is a man of many talents.
He's a smart ball user, Johnson. He's that's 3 or 4 times he's done that. He's just
able to just square it up.
Yeah, had the composure under pressure.
And Dillon, 40 out, hits it well. It's home. And Port starting to show their class here. Winning now, start to open it up. Kick by O'Sullivan into the path of Gale, who kept it alive.
Well done.
And the big man spun in the tackle, got the hair pass away. Comes across to Bruce for late inclusion. Bouncing ball, was it touched? Oh, was it touched? I don't think it was. Oh, a little bit of fortune goes a long way.
I can't believe no one touched that football because it rolled along the ground for probably 20 metres there. And we see here just fantastic play on the boundary there to keep the ball alive. And we see here just this little handball, just a quick little handball. And Bruce there was just able to run that football along the ground. Rest is history. They're out to a, what's that, a 5-goal lead now? 4-goal lead, sorry.
Well, to put it into perspective, 5-2 to 2 behinds in this quarter.
A couple of guys inside that he could have used quite easily. So, unselfish play. No, need that if they're going to get back into this game, and that is just undisciplined.
Yep, no doubt about that. I'm surprised it's not 50 metres. In fact, it's going to be a report.
It was pretty late, Mark, right in front of me down here on the boundary line, and just uncalled for. I mean, that's not how they're going to get themselves back in this game.
I have to say, Matt Rosier, he hasn't got the weight to throw around, but he certainly went airborne and has been penalised 50 and gone on report, with Johnston getting it from his brother. And now he might receive an opportunity to score a goal from around 50.
Well, the NT have had plenty of time to get their numbers back now, so they're not going to find an easy target inside 50.
Former Sandringham player, and Johnston looking to give it off, which he does now. Kick from Langford. And it's been chopped off, although Johnston, who's been in everything in this quarter, retrieves, run down. Got the hand pass away. Woofenden continues to rack them up. Disposal number 15 to Dillon. Now across to Gale, working it well. About 90 seconds to play, and the Thunder just hanging on. And Port through Mewling. Gets the release, hand pass away. Woofenden, another touch. This time it's Dermott to half forward. Smith lays the tackle. And Port inside 50. Good hands. Mark taken out in front of his face there. And a shot from about 45 metres out. Guess who? Guess who?
He's been good today, hasn't he? And once again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. He had space, he was in front, and the kick was smart. It was out in front of him to his advantage, and it's really hard to stop. NT Thunder are going to have to do something, like if there's players there in a non-dangerous position, they've got to get players to roll off and help.
Sam O'Sullivan shooting for 5. Never in doubt.
Never
Beautiful
in doubt.
kick. They come from everywhere to congratulate Sam O'Sullivan. The Foxtel Cup Game 8 is his.
Well, we've seen Barry and Ben there at half-time going through their goal-kicking techniques. That was picture perfect there, Baz. Head over the ball. Line was directly, as you said, going straight towards the goal umpire and kicked it straight over his head.
Well, one thing we spoke about is not overcomplicating it, not worrying about it too much. Be actually confident you're going to kick the goal.
And
To Brewer. Pops it over the top. Woofenden, now Williams. Second chance from 50. Bang! Straight through the middle. He doesn't make a mistake a second time. That is a beautiful finish.
they were just lining up, weren't they? They set up the wall, and they were able just to hear. We'll see here, the ball's able to go back into that centre corridor. And it wasn't one, it was 2 players there that were free and open. So it's poor defence at the moment by NT, as Baz said. They're just not closing down Port Melbourne's space quick enough when they have their hands in the ball. They're sitting and waiting. They're sitting on their heels.
Mewling tracks it down.
Much better.
He's run down. Could have been penalised, but the umpire lets them play. Woofenden again. Rosier can't get the handle on it. Wouldn't expect the ball to be too slippery. Not overly high humidity here, but struggling to find someone to get a hold of it. Very clever from Woofenden, really clever. Gets it across to Hinkley, the former Docker, 45 out. That's spot on.
Geez, he's been impressive, Woofenden. He's 23 possessions in the third quarter in a shortened game. It's really impressive.
Nice kick inside the centre square. Dropped though by Williams. Now he's got a problem. A really big problem because he lost the footy. Muling. Scaponi. Nice kick.
We've seen that time and time again today where NT Thunder get that ball through the centre corridor and turn it over, but all their defenders they're too far committed. They're already all running forward. So again, there we just see it's just a loose Port Melbourne player inside 50.
Tom Langford to go back from about 45 metres, gives it the Matthew Lloyd treatment, bit of grass in the air. His second stint at the club.
They're very much running only one way at the moment, Thunder. They want to run and attack, but defensively they're not running it as hard as they should.
Langford with a zinc across the nose, covers himself in a bit of glory here at TIO Stadium. Muling, centering kick into the pocket, in fact. It's a live ball and off hands.
Well, it's amazing. We called upset early days, and
Yeah.
you know, it's certainly totally opposite of that with the players out, the quality players out from Port Melbourne. But geez, they've made a good account of himself.
Plenty of rotations in these conditions.
He deserves a goal too.
And gets one. And gets one. And you've mentioned Johnston's work today. He's lively. He's made a couple of mistakes, but gee, he's getting plenty of it. Still gets a kick away. O'Sullivan. Beautiful kick. Wonderful delivery on a platter. And if you're a forward running out, Hinkley didn't have to break stride.
Well, if you're a backman for the Thunder, you'd be filthy. You know, your teammates just aren't working hard enough back. There's, you know, with a forward line that open and the kicks they're receiving, it's just too hard to stop.
Here's Hinkley. Nice approach. And the finish is superb. Presents no problem. The goals keep coming. One of those players in Gale who attacked it. And he's got Francis peeling off. Big task here for Pryor. On the up. Gave it straight away to Woofenden. He's got options. Francis. Now to Woofenden. This would cap off a brilliant game.
He's earned that, hasn't he?
From Mitch Woofenden. A little shaky from a set shot. That was sublime.
Well, we heard Ben Dixon say to Daniel Archer there in the box, NT were hunting in numbers early in that game. We'll see here, it's 3 Port Melbourne players, and it's just weight of numbers. They're just being continually able to expose the NT here. And we see it's not one option, it's 3 options that they could have went to there. And Woofenden, just a great finish there and absolutely deserved. They had 27 possessions and now 1 goal.
In the quarter.
Well, Brewer, he took the mark, thought he was about to be run down, but he had too much petrol for his opponent. And Port, perhaps, with seconds remaining, can go forward and score a late goal. At the spill, the Thunder have the numbers. And defensively, they should see out the danger. Duncan, little toe poke. In trouble, though. Here's Williams. Advantage paid? No, it's coming back. And in fact, it has been paid. The umpire making the latest of delayed decisions. It results in a goal, and I'm sure everyone stopped, and it was almost an afterthought there.
Well, the whistle got blown 3 times. The umpire said free kick, advantage, no advantage, and then he's paid the goal in the end.
Jason Williams, well, he'd heard the whistle, and just like at the end of training, just having a quick shot.
If it was a point, he would have brought it back, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And the point is that Jason Williams has got 3 goals. He's just quietly snuck into the equation here with Sam O'Sullivan. Darren Williams Jr. A long ball. A couple of Thunder players couldn't work it out, and Dylan said, well, I'll grab it and kick it to O'Sullivan, who went back with the aim of kicking a goal. Got a couple of calls in the corridor. When you've got 5, you're on a high. This should be within his capabilities.
Go back, son.
Exactly.
Never in doubt.
Go back, kick the goal.
And we spoke about the humidity and conditions early. It just hasn't been a factor. You know, Port are running on top of the ground, you know, in the last quarter, and it just hasn't been a factor at all.
O'Sullivan gives it plenty of air, and the accuracy is spot on. 6 goals to Sam O'Sullivan. It's been a taxing day at the office, but a very rewarding one.
Hugely rewarding, and I thought we see here it's just another turnover coming out out of 50 there for the NT Thunder, but just the unselfishness of the Port Melbourne players, I've liked that throughout the day. They've able to just to lower their eyes on many occasions and just hit up that target, because it's not a tall forward line that they got out there today. It's my fellow commentator Barry Hall, I think, has been guilty of the old fend off too high a couple of times, I think, as well.
Got him around the vocal cords though, Noonan, so maybe on reflection it wasn't a bad decision. Comes to Bruce. To full forward. Nice chest mark. And body strength there telling out. Good transition of the footy. And Port, with less than 8 minutes to play, running this game out well.
Unfortunately, Rama, I had to fend off because I had no left foot. So
193 centimetres, Ryan Gale. Former Northern Blues player. This should present very few problems. It doesn't. And it's the hand pass away. Now Rozier, has he got the leg speed to get rid of Williams? No, but they've still kept the ball alive, most importantly. Approaching the 50, a long ball, Noonan getting back. He's a reliable type.
He is, but that handball needed to come inside there. He had his teammate on the inside in the corridor, but he decided to kick long, and it was just a nothing kick in the end.
And Port start to stream forward. Bruce kicking for O'Sullivan, and he's got it. 45 out.
Go back, kick the goal.
Why not? He's got 6.
And I think 7 may be the record in the Foxtel Cup at the moment in terms of most goals in a game. So
I was actually going to ask what's the most disposals as well.
Wolfington, yeah, he's right up there, isn't he?
He's got 29 in a shortened game. It's remarkable.
Sam O'Sullivan looking for Super 7. Oh,
Has not looked like missing all day.
does not
He's tuned in
deviate.
at half-time, no doubt.
He watched the Barry Hall Ben Dixon masterclass. Mind you, he'd already kicked 4 up to that point. But that is a beautiful kicking action.
Well, no doubt, and that's a nice heavy tackle there, and that's the pressure that Port Melbourne have just been able to continually apply all day. So we see here, it's just, again, it's that kick into space over the top. It's probably the most dangerous kick in football at the moment. If your forwards are smart enough and can get behind their defenders.
At you, so it's obviously great for your confidence.
Yeah, Easy really putting on us to be hard the ball, really work hard, and we've shown that the last 2 quarters, and especially the last, we're piling on a few goals, which is good.
And how was the feeling last week to break that 28 winning streak? Collingwood rolled you. How'd it feel?
Yeah, pretty disappointing, so we really wanted to bounce back today and make sure we came up here, come a long way and get a win and put us back on the winners board.
Bit of goal kicking during the week with 20 behinds last week probably cost you.
Yeah, a good half hour or so, mate, so...
We might get Hawley down to give you some work during the week. He hasn't got much on during the week.
Yeah, it could be good, mate. Big help.
Good on you, Mitch.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Josh Scarponi, meantime, little skip, keeps it low, drills it home. It's starting to approach that 100-point margin. We saw Claremont do a number on West Adelaide early in the Foxtel Cup. It's release ball finds Langford. Brewer in support on his left. Good kick. Well weighted. And ball ends up in the hands of Miles Pitt. Woofenden, top of the square, runs on, and he finishes the day just as he started it, with the footy in his hand.
Yeah, well, we did a fair bit of goal kicking training, so I think it's paying off. I think I need to work on my set shot though.
You're right, you've had an outstanding day. How have you found the NT Thunder guys? They've worked pretty hard all day and it's been a good experience for them.
Yeah, they've worked really hard. They're a lot more physical than we thought they'd be, but and they've got a lot of strong bodies and can run really well. So we're pretty happy with our team's performance, that we've been able to come here and put them away.
There's only seconds to go. You are man of the match in the Foxtel Cup. Well done. Through to the quarterfinals. Outstanding, Mitch. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well done to Mitch Woofenden, and in fact to the entire Port Melbourne team. State footy coming up, lots of representatives, but they have come up here and shown the depth in this footy club. Dying seconds, ball tumbling towards half forward for the Thunder. Over and out. But as we said, this footy club missing some of the best players, but they haven't missed a beat really today.
Have not missed a beat, and the way I think for me that's been most impressive is the way they've gone about their football today in terms of their attack and defence. And you know, it's just a great all-round performance, I think, by Port Melbourne. They should be super happy going back on that plane tonight.
Yep, into the quarterfinals, and in a couple of weeks, that's when we do enter the next stage of the competition with Port Adelaide hosting Morningside at Amy Stadium. We'll be there. Looking forward to that one. The Muggalution back in action.
Muggalution, yes, one of our all-time favourites.
And the dying stages of this game up in Darwin. It's an 88-point win to Port Melbourne. The reigning VFL premiers are through to the next stage of the Foxtel Cup. Very impressive performance. 21 goals, 11, 137 to 7-7-49. Really, they have been superb, and their song, which has been played so often over the last year or so, goes again.
Yeah, like I said, super impressive performance by Port Melbourne today. Fantastic the way they went about their football. Disappointing by NT, but good to see Port Melbourne move through.
Big day on Fox Footy. Shortly we'll head to Amy Stadium when we see Port Adelaide host North Melbourne. It's all Port Melbourne here, though, up in Darwin. And later tonight at Fox Footy, we've got the Bulldogs up against the Gold Coast. Thanks for your company. We'll see you in a couple of weeks in Adelaide.
This has been a Fox Footy production.